Welcome to the Magpie Library. Today I want to be talking alternate dimension books. As always, I want to start with what I'm currently reading. So I did finish my book last night, and today I will be starting A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I loaned my book 11/22/63 to one of my coworkers, and she is not a sci-fi time travel type person. She doesn't really enjoy reading stuff like that. She picked it up because I was gushing about it when I was reading it at work. And so she wanted me to expand my horizons as well, and she gave me a romantasy to read. So this is what we're starting with. Wish me luck. Okay, alternate dimension. I have never really been a fan of alternate dimension because I, at the time, didn't really understand them, and I'd only ever seen it in movies. I don't feel like it is portrayed as well in movies as it is in books. With that being said, I have come to realize that I enjoy being so confused and thrown through a loop with how books portray different timelines, different dimensions, alternate realities, that sort of thing. I realized this when the first book I ever read was Briardark by S.A. Harian. And this book is about a group of expeditioners that are entering the Dead Switch Wilderness Pass to do some research and get some evidence for a research paper that they are writing, and to potentially find new hiking trails that have never been found before. So with this book, you are following them through their journey when you come to realize that things aren't the same as they were when they entered the pass, and that there are things happening that shouldn't be able to happen, people they're meeting they should never have been able to meet. I was so confused, and I felt like I was going crazy reading this book, and I didn't realize that was a feeling that I wanted to have reading books like this. So this is the first book in a series. I also have read Waywarden, which goes a little more in detail and you follow a little bit more about what's going on. But with Briardark, the utter sense of being lost and on a place that no one else can get to. You're not on a map. You can't radio out for help because there's no signal. And following them through this terror they're going through put a whole nother sense of dread in me that I didn't know a book could give. So for that reason, I have realized that alternate dimensions or wrong timelines, things like that, really get to me. After reading that one, I read a more popular one, and it's We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. This book is about this couple, and Charlie is on her way home from work, and Eve is at the house. They are renovating this beautiful house that they bought so that they could sell it. And Eve is at home, hanging out, waiting for Charlie. And these people show up at her door. And the gentleman says, I used to live in this house. I would love to show my family around. We're just passing through on the way out of town. Eve is a people pleaser. And so, of course, she says yes. Well, that changes everything for her. So this book takes you through, and there's a bunch of different clues, which I absolutely love. It takes you through all of this craziness that's happening, but nobody else can see that things are different. And Eve doesn't really know things are different until things start moving that shouldn't be moved, that shouldn't be able to be moved, like a window. And another instance, she had just taken a nail that was embedded in the fireplace out, and she goes downstairs the next morning and it's there. Different things like that. People's behavior, her dog Shiloh's behavior is different, and she can't figure out why. So you're following her through this journey of what is going on here. The other cool thing about this is there are little like Easter egg puzzles, I guess you could say, that you can solve and get more to the story, but they're not actually, they're relevant to the story, but you don't need them to know what's going on, which I enjoyed. To my knowledge, there's a whole Reddit thread on this book going into like the theories and what's going on. I do plan on doing a reread of this, and when I do, I want to make a spoiler video just so I can say how I'm feeling, because there is so much going on in this book and so much to unpack and so much that the surface only touches. You have to like look past it, and there's so many different theories you can pull from this book. So stay tuned for that video, but this book was phenomenal. Had my friend read it, who again, alternate realities, alternate dimensions are not her forte, and she loved this book. We went on and on about what the hell happened in this book. Okay, so my most recent read, staying in that same vein, was The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. First off, the writing in this book was spectacular. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this book. This book is about a girl who goes through a divorce and her whole life gets uprooted. She decides to move back to her hometown and stay with her grandpa, who owns this museum/curiosity shop. He one day receives a totem from a patron, and really weird things start to happen, including a giant hole in the wall that leads to a corridor that should not be able to exist in a space like this. This book was so much fun because most reality, obviously I haven't read that many, but the ones that I have read, it is their reality. And while they do live through the reality that's going on in this book, there is a sense that they can get back to normalcy, which I enjoyed about that. But there's also the factor of if they can't figure out how to close stuff down or seal off the hole or whatever, there's a chance it could leak over into their world, which is really scary when the things that live in this book in the other dimension are trees. So this book was a lot of fun to read. I'm so sorry if you can hear the trash truck driving down. It's trash day. So these are the books that I have read that are alternate reality, different dimension type books. I do have one more book that I know is alternate dimension, and that is The House of Leaves. I am terrified to read that book. I will eventually. I just know it's going to take a while, and I've seen people on here that say you feel like you're going crazy reading this book. So I'm definitely going to take my time with that, and it's gonna be a little bit before I read it, but I do have it on my shelf to read. So if you have any other book recommendations like these that you really enjoyed, then I would love to hear those. Please leave those down in the comments below for me. Also, if you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe. This is just really a place for me to express my thoughts and feelings on books. And I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride with me. So I will see you next Thursday, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!